Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Amy Parks, and we are giving this live podcast, Facebook streaming opportunity a chance here on the Clinical Supervision Directory page, a whirl. Welcome to Supervision Simplified. This is a relaunch solo episode of Supervision Simplified. Again, I am Dr. Amy Parks, and we are live on Facebook today talking a little bit about supervision and relaunching the Supervision Simplified podcast. This is our relaunch solo episode, and the title of this episode is Flying Solo, a New Season. So I'm here to talk a little bit about our podcast and showing up live on Facebook to tell you a little bit about the season ahead and what's going on with our podcast. So, hey, friends, again, I'm Dr. Amy Parks, and welcome back to Supervision Simplified. If you're a returning listener, you might notice things sound a little different around here. And if you're brand new, welcome. This is the space where we talk about real world supervision in the ever evolving world of mental health, which is a constantly changing field, and supervision is constantly changing as well. And today's episode is a little different. It is just me. If you're familiar with my dear friend, Valerie Harris, you're noticing that she's probably not here. We're flying solo in this new season, but the mission remains the same: to have real conversations with real supervisors doing the work and to make this complex world of supervision a little simpler, because who doesn't want simpler? So I wanted to show up here today on Facebook to show you that we are still alive and still kicking, and to tell you a little bit about the things that are changing with Supervision Simplified, give you some updates on the world of mental health care, and to tell you what you can look forward to in this new season. So why the change? First, let me give you some updates. Valerie has stepped away from the podcast after contributing so much to our first 30 plus episodes of Supervision Simplified. She brought humor and insight and a deep knowledge of supervision. Life changes, some professional shifts, and capacity adjustments happen. All things we talk about on this show all the time. And Valerie has some exciting projects in the works, including an incredibly exciting new book that's coming out in July that we will be featuring on the podcast. So I'm really excited to be sharing that with you. And that is going to be coming for her. Something that has happened for me in the past few months is that I have moved out of group practice back into private practice. So I have sold my practice, The Wise Family, and I have left it in incredibly capable hands. And so I'm really excited to be sharing that Wise Family Wellness still exists in a beautiful capacity as an incredible brand, an incredible group of clinicians. But I have moved back into solo practice, and I'm focusing all of my time on solo practice and on building the clinical supervision directory and on this podcast, on Supervision Simplified and on supervision. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of me, and we're going to be doing a lot more things around supervision. And I'm going to be sharing a new book called Supervision Essentials. So you're going to be getting a lot of great material for doing supervision, for executing incredibly sound clinical work with your supervisees, and work with universities around training the next generation of supervisors, or supervisees and clinicians. So it's going to be some exciting things on the horizon and some great new features for the clinical supervision directory. So lots of really great things happening. This shift comes to us as an opportunity to explore new voices, invite more guests, and lean into a wide range of experiences that supervisors have. My vision for this new season is to continue offering practical strategies, real conversations, and to really have the kind of honest dialogue that helps all of us become better supervisors, leaders, and clinicians. So that's really, really important to us. What can you expect in this new season? Interviews with supervisors from diverse settings, which is something that you've been asking us for: private practice, hospitals, universities, agencies, and schools. Lots of people want to hear from people that are supervising in schools. Deeper dives into supervision models, case consultation, and definitely ethics. Conversations on leadership, because supervision is leadership. And we really want to be talking about the next generation of leaders and how to be supporting supervisors who are at the top of the leadership pyramid. Topics like burnout, AI and supervision, vicarious trauma, supporting a variety of different identities in supervision, and capacity building in the supervision relationship. And yes, some solo episodes too, where I share tools, frameworks, and brain based supervision strategies that you can use right away in your work. I want this to be a podcast that meets you where you are, whether you're a brand new supervisor, a seasoned leader, or someone considering taking on your very first supervisee. So let's also acknowledge what's happening in our world right now. Lots of things going on. Workforce shortages continue to challenge mental health care delivery across the country. We're seeing lots of things that are happening in insurance-based industries, lots of things happening in businesses, in EAP workforce delivery. Supervision is not just a credentialing process, it's essential to workforce sustainability. So that's something that we're going to be doing a lot of talking about, and I'd love to hear from you if you have some thoughts. Burnout is still front and center. 2025 data is showing significant numbers of clinicians reducing their caseloads or stepping away entirely. I see lots of things on social media about capacity, about burnout, about reducing burnout, and supervision is a critical protective factor. And in fact, I really see lots of our associations sort of ignoring supervision as a critical protective factor, and that's something that I really want to spend a lot of time talking about. Trauma exposure continues to rise, especially with global events happening. We're in June of 2025 right now. We're talking about war. We're talking about crisis. We're talking about summer fires happening. We're talking about political stress and the lingering ripple effects of COVID continuing to show up in client work. Supervisors are navigating supervisee distress, financial distress, and client trauma every single day. I mentioned earlier AI and technology. I was privileged to work on the Supervision Summit with Tara Sanderson and Amy Smitke, which was an incredible event in May. We'll be having again next year in March 2026. And we had an incredible speaker talk about AI and technology. And AI and technology are entering the supervision conversation more frequently. Note-taking, documentation, and even clinical decision-making tools. We cannot get away from it. We can't. So don't even bother trying. It's just not possible. People say, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Forget it. You can't get away from it. And these are tools that are raising both opportunity and ethical complexity for supervisors. And then licensure portability efforts are gaining steam, particularly as telehealth becomes much, much more normalized. Supervision plays a key role in ensuring clinical competency across state lines. We're hearing much more and more, and we're going to be approaching more and more in 25 and 26 around licensure portability. It doesn't impact supervisors in the way we wish it would, but it's going to be out there. So we need to be on the front lines of understanding how licensure portability is impacting clinicians. We're living in a time where supervisors need support, nuances, and tools more than ever. So my hope is that this podcast continues to be a place where we name those tensions and talk about solutions. And here is where you come in. So I want to hear from you. What supervision challenges are you facing right now? What topics do you want us to explore? And who should I invite as a guest? If you're on this Facebook Live right now and you want to be a guest on Supervision Simplified on the podcast, hop in the comments. I'd love to see them. And after I get off this live, I'm going to hop in the comments and hope that you've made some. Hop in my DMs. Message me at amy@the-csd.com. DM me, reach out to my team on the clinical supervision directory, hop on the website, however you need to connect with me. We would love to hear from you. Go on our social media channels at the clinical supervision directory, hop in the comments on the podcast, give us a review, whatever, message me directly in any way you want. Let's co-create this season together. And if you haven't already, go back to the first 30 plus episodes of Supervision Simplified, listen in, subscribe, share this with your colleagues, leave a review. We'd love a 5-star review if you're so inclined. And it helps us so much more than you really know. It really, really does. to know that you're listening in and that you're giving us your feedback on what you want to hear about in regards to supervision. Supervision in the real world is complex. And I want you to know that some really exciting things are coming out from us around supervision, from the field around supervision, from the people who are guiding supervision in our associations, some really incredibly exciting best practice information, some really exciting things from the clinical supervision directory with supervision essentials, some really exciting things from my previous co-host Valerie around capacity. And so I really want you to be on the front lines of getting those things very first. So I want to make sure that you are hearing about it from us, real tools, real talk, real supervisors doing the work in the world of mental health. So I want to thank you for being here as we launch the next chapter of Supervision Simplified. I want you to be a part of co-creating this again with us together. Let's all do this together. So thanks so much for being here. I hope this live was fun for you. It was certainly fun for me. And stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to be sharing some information from an incredibly exciting partner that I have in this field who was my supervisee when we first started our work together and who's now supervising in the field. And her name is Tori Boyd, and she lives in Texas, but she also supervises in Virginia. And then we're going to be having some terrific speakers and supervisors coming on in the next couple months who are from all over the country talking about a variety of things that they're doing in the field. So tune in for those conversations. And again, if you want to be on the podcast to talk about what you're doing or talking about what you want to see in supervision over the next few months, please let us know. And I look forward to hearing from you very, very soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.